Hey friends, welcome back to Belle's Library. How's everybody doing? I'm Heather if you haven't been here yet, and today we are going to do one of my absolute favorite videos to do, and that is my Belle's Bookland TBR game video. It is for the month of May this time around, and I can't wait. I literally tried to do this earlier and earlier in the month, like every month, and I'm like, Heather, you can't do it this early. You have to wait and see if you actually read all of the books. Okay, so on that subject, let's go ahead and look at what books I had to read for my April TBR and see how I'm doing there, and if I need to take any punishments. So I had a total of 9 books that I needed to read in April. Seven of them were from my actual rolls, and then I had to take 2 punishment books. So I had Finale, which I am about halfway through, and I'm gonna finish it either today or tomorrow because I am sucked in and obsessed, and we still have a few more days left in April while I'm filming this, so we should be good there. I finished Horror Store, Love from A to Z, and Dead Voices. Girl of Nightmares I still have to read, but again I have a few more days and I know that it will be no problem. I have it physical and I have an audiobook for it, so we should be good there. So those are those 5 books, and then I also had Foundryside, which I finished, and Ready Player One, which I finished, and then my 2 punishments were Into the Forest and The Asylum, which I finished both of those. I actually ended up DNFing Into the Forest, but I got like 70% into it, so, you know, we're counting it. So those are all of my books, and so no punishments, so I'm really excited about that. And before we jump into the actual game board and start our rolls, I did want to just kind of give a quick call out to Caitlin over at the Lit Review. I recently started watching her channel, and it was after I kind of started making my board, but I realized that she also has a really fun kind of Candyland themed TBR game. So if you guys aren't subscribed to her, then definitely go and check her out because her channel's great. She has, again, her fun TBR game, but she also has a lot of graphic novels she's trying to get through this year. She reads a lot of romance, but kind of a mix of different genres, and I really enjoy her reviews. They're very organized and well put together, and she's just a really sweet and kind person, and definitely would go and check out her channel. I'll make sure it's down below for you guys. Okay, let's go ahead and start into roll number 1. Okay, so as I'm editing this, I realized that somehow I made this video, but none of the sound came through. So I'm going to try and talk us through this, and just bear with me as we figure this out. So roll number 1 is going to start any second now. Okay, so roll number 1 is going to be a 7. So here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is going to be a horror. Okay, so the first roll that we got was a horror novel, and for this one I'm actually going to go ahead and do House of Leaves, and this one's by Mark Z. Daniel Lusky. That's where we're going to go with. And this one actually works for being in the horror genre. Also, it is Books and Lala's pick for her book club, the Literally Dead Book Club. Is that what it is? Anyways, it was their pick for April, but the live show hasn't happened, and it's happening here soon, so I'm hoping to kind of read that one maybe early on in the month and participate in the live show. So I also try to fit in Books and Lala's Buzzword-a-thon theme for the month, and for this month it's going to be house or home. So this says House of Leaves in the title, so it works beautifully and perfectly. So I'm excited about that one. So for a brief synopsis of this book, from what I kind of understand, I believe it's kind of a mixed media format. I'm actually going to get this through my library so I can read it physically, but it's like a collection. People have basically added into this book over time and created House of Leaves book. and then it kind of starts with a family that moves into a house, but the house is like bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And then the kids like all of a sudden disappear, and then they're talking about weird things, and when they come back to their parents, I don't know. So there's like a haunted house theme going on, but then also something like a haunted book or something. I don't know. We're gonna find out though. It sounds really fun and intriguing. Okay, so let's go ahead and start roll number 2 and see where we land. We've got an 8. Yes, I can add. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a green, and the green is going to be contemporary, which I haven't had too many of those, so that's good to see. So for roll number 2, we got in a contemporary, which I honestly have not gotten this very often so far, so that's exciting. And so I'm thinking that we're going to try and go ahead and do Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I have yet to read one of his books, and everybody seems to really enjoy them, and just like they fall in love with his books. They really like just seem to be a very emotional, and people become very connected to his books and his writing, and so I'm very excited to read my first Bachman book. But Beartown, we're basically set in this small town in the mountains, and they have an ice hockey team, and they're doing really well, and they're gonna like go to world championships or something like that. I just know that they kind of are, you know, the prize stars of this town, and then something happens with a young girl in the town, and she gets assaulted, and everybody's not very happy with this situation, obviously, but not for reasons that maybe like, you know, not necessarily that there was an assault, but that it had to do with the hockey team, and it kind of creates a very big debate in this small town, and it sounds very interesting. It kind of reminds me of Sadie, which I adored and loved, by Courtney Summers, in that kind of respect. But yeah, so I'm really interested and excited to read a Bachman book. Also, I decided recently to go ahead and try and include the Lit Reviews monthly book theme for her book club that she's doing. It's called the Book Covered Bookclub, and it's just basically like a book club that goes for the month, and you can just try and find themes on a cover. Like there's a certain theme, and you would find that within the cover. So for May, she did an illustrated cover, so Beartown works beautifully for this. And maybe if things kind of fall into place, I can do a readathon for, I know there's one specific week where she's like, I do a readathon for this, and you guys can join in if you want. So maybe I will, and I'll try and see if I can fit a couple more books in the illustrated category, because honestly, that's not a super hard thing to do these days. A lot of covers are illustrated, so I will take it. Okay, let's go to roll number 3. Moving into roll number 3. Just kidding. Okay, now we're going to do roll number 3. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got another horror novel. Another horror book. I can't say I'm sad about that. I'm kind of in the mood for horror. I actually got a few on my April TBR, and I was really enjoying them, and so I'm totally okay with this. So an author I've been really interested in reading more from in this genre is Jennifer McMahon. I don't know, there's just something about her synopses that every time I read one, I'm like, what? This sounds great. I want to read this. So I have like all these books that I want to read from her, but I still haven't read a book from her. So we're going to read The Invited by her. And this is basically following this husband and wife who decide that they're going to build a house on this land that they bought, but they don't know that they are building a haunted house. So yes, sounds very interesting and intriguing, and I'm loving the idea of it. So let's do roll number 4. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and do roll number 4 here. And roll number 4 is going to be, oh, ouch, chip, 6. So here we go. We're on a purple, which is going to be a mystery or thriller. I definitely think I have a few ideas here. Okay, so we got mystery thriller, and I know exactly what I'm going to do for this one. So for May, Books and Lala's book club is doing They Never Learn by Lane Fargo, and this is a book that I already kind of put on my list of books that I wanted to prioritize this year, that I wanted to get to. It sounds really intriguing to me, and I'm very interested, so I was like, this is the month to do it. Let's do it. Basically, we're following this professor at a university, and she's, I think, very good at her job, but she secretly also each year chooses the worst man on the campus and murders him. And it's kind of a story that involves following her, I think, and she like gets into the investigation, like kind of gets herself into the investigation or something. Yeah, so that's my general knowledge of what this is about. Sounds very interesting. I'm excited for the school setting and see how I like that. So yeah, that'll be a good one. It's nice that we are getting a good kind of mix so far, although I say this and then I always end up screwing myself over. Here we go. Roll number 5. We're going to have a 9. So this one's going to land on green again, and we're going to have a contemporary. All right, we got another contemporary, which that sounds great too. I haven't had a ton of that, as I was saying earlier. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and go with Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. I really need to start reading more of my Book of the Month books, otherwise why am I getting them every month? And so we're going to try and do that a little bit more. And this one sounds really fun. So we're following Grace, and she's like a straight A student, and she got her PhD. She just finished up, and so she takes a girls' trip to Vegas, and you know, she isn't really sure what more she wants to do with her life now that she's kind of finished her degree and where that's going to take her. And so she's blown off some steam, and she wakes up married. Whoops. So it's her story. She ends up trying to make it work with the other girl that she gets married to, and they move to New York. That's where the girl lives, and it's her kind of, I think there is a certain amount of it that's delving into that relationship and maybe a little bit of a romance there, but I think also there is some soul finding and figuring out more about what her life's gonna look like and what she wants it to look like. Oh, and illustrated cover, so there's a couple books there. Moving into roll number 6 here, we've got a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a fantasy square. We haven't had one of those yet this month. Definitely at this point, I think I was realizing that I was rolling a lot of really low numbers. And I was like, dang, this is going to be a big TBR. Hey, we got a fantasy. Woohoo. Okay, this one I'm actually going to go with Elatsoe. And this one I've heard it kind of falls in the fantasy realm, but also is a little bit of a mystery as well, so that's intriguing. But we're basically following Elatsoe, and she is trying to figure out something about like her cousin's death, but there's also within her native tribe, some of them have like different powers and abilities and that kind of thing. So there is like a magical element to the story, and I believe it's set in Alaska. I don't know, that's my general idea behind it. I've heard it's a little bit different book in some way, maybe the storytelling or something. I'm not totally sure, but I'm curious as to see what it's about and if I like it or not. So we're gonna go with it. Okay, so here we go with roll number 7, which is 6, and we're on a mystery thriller square as well. I definitely was craving some mystery novels recently, so I'm gonna throw some of that in here. All right, I'm getting a little bit nervous because we are moving through this board a little slowly, so I feel like we're gonna have a very large TBR this month. Of course, no punishments, but we're still gonna have a ton of books. Anyways, roll number 7, we have another mystery thriller. I've definitely been in the mood for a good mystery book, so we're gonna go ahead and go with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I'm going to pick up the physical book from my library on this, and then I also have it available on my Libby app for the audio, and I know that a lot of people have really enjoyed both. I know the book, I believe, has some different mixed media elements within it, and then also the audio I've heard is really good, and they do a really good job of it, so I am excited to get into this one. And this is by Holly Jackson, and this is a YA mystery, so I believe our main character is a senior in high school, junior in high school, something like that. She's in like her older teens. She's trying to solve this mystery that happened in her town, and it's kind of my general idea knowledge. I don't know. That's what I got. I get like Nancy Drew vibes from it for some reason, but yeah, I'm excited because I enjoy Nancy Drew. Okay, let's see what roll number 8 looks like.
All right, come on, big number, big number, big number. 6 again. Okay, and I believe this was roll number 8, so we got a fantasy again for this one. So we got a couple fantasies this month. But still, I feel like a good mix.
All right, here we go with another fantasy. We're getting such a good mix this month. I'm so excited. So for this one, I think I'm going to go with Circe by Madeline Miller. So this book is a Circe retelling. So you got some Greek mythology going on. I'm kind of curious as to if that's something I'm going to enjoy, but so many people have absolutely raved and loved this book. It was Book of the Month, Book of the Year in 2018, and I've just heard so many glowing reviews, and I want to know what everything's all about. But yeah, that's basically the only thing I know, is that it's a retelling following Circe, and that's what I got. I don't even really know the general story of Circe, so this should be interesting, and I'm excited to read it.
Let's see if we can get a bigger number. No, we got a 3. Woo, we did not move far. Oh, but we got our lovely little circus tent. So we are going to be pulling a card for this one. Here we go. I'm grabbing that so I can show you. I'll just take the very top card, and that's the one we'll go with, and then I'll move it to the bottom. So we're going to read a retelling.
Hey, we got one of those fun little squares. I love those in my cute little circus tent. I've been really craving reading some circus books recently. I've been thinking about that, like, where can I try and fit some of this in? Anyways, that's totally off topic. We're going to read a retelling. So I decided that we're going to go with Legendborn, and this is by Tracy Dion. I've again heard tons of really good things about this one as well, and it is a King Arthur retelling. So my general understanding is that we are following this young lady here. Her name is Bree, and she's like 16 years old, and her mom ends up dying, and so she's like, I don't want anything to do with this place, and I want to get away, and I'm gonna go to this boarding school. And then when she's there, she sees some like crazy magical stuff, and she's like, what is happening? And they try to erase her memory of it, but it doesn't work, and so she ends up joining the Legendborn. And yeah, a secret society of so-called Legendborn students who hunt the creatures down. Oh, it's a flying demon that she saw. And yeah, so we've got like Merlin in here, and King Arthur's knights. They're descendants of King Arthur's knights, and I don't know. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. There you go.
All right, let's see if we can get to the end, or if we have to have a 10th book on this TBR. This will be the largest TBR in that case. I think 9 last month was the high. So we got an 8, and where's that going to take us? Of course, it's going to take us to the very last spot on the board. So we're going to have number 10, which is going to be a contemporary. And from there, obviously, we're going to roll again, and then we are going to go ahead and finish off this whole game. Here we go.
Wow, we're going to land on the very last square. Not going to make it quite to the end. We're going to land on that last one. All right. Well, here we go with the contemporary. Here's going to be the last book, number 10. So for this one, we're actually going to read I Want to Be Where You Are by Christina Forrest. And this one also has an illustrated cover, so I've got a few in there. So possible video for you guys to look out for, which means you should definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Anyways, let's talk about the book and what it's about. It's basically following this girl, and she dreams of becoming a ballerina, and she wants to go to this audition, and her mom says, no, you're not going. She says, oh yes, I am. And she ends up deciding that she's gonna go on this road trip. It's like 200 miles across the country, and her neighbor intervenes and says, I'm going with you, otherwise I'm gonna tell your mom. And so it's her and her neighbor and her neighbor's dog, and they're going on a road trip. And I am intrigued, and I think it'll be fun. It kind of makes me think of Amy and Roger's Epic Detour, and they like take a trip across the entire United States, and it's just fun, and I liked that book, so kind of gives me similar vibes, so I'm excited about that. So that is going to be all of the 10 books that I'm going to be reading this month. Here's a few of them. There was a bunch more we talked about. I have like 10 books there. I do have a few other books that I'm hoping to get to this month, and so that's going to be Firebreaker, and this is by, so that's by Nicole Kerner-Stace, and it's a NetGalley arc that I have, and it's a science fiction. I know there's like a gaming world thing going on, and other than that, until I read it, I won't be able to give you too much more of a synopsis there. And then I also really want to get to Sleeping Giants this month by Sylvain Neuvel. This is another kind of mixed media type book, and so if you're sensing a little theme going on through this video, you might have an idea of another video that I'm thinking I'm going to do this month. And so that is another book I'm thinking about trying to squeeze in there, and I'm sure there'll be a few others on my list once I keep trying to think through some ideas. But it's going to be a very busy reading month, but school's going to be out soon, so I should have a little bit more time, so I'm excited about that. And I hope you guys are going to have a really wonderful May. What's something that you guys are really wanting to read this month in May? Send me a comment down below and let me know what your like most anticipated book is this month. Okay, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!